Isaac Asimov was a titan of science fiction who stood for the unyielding pursuit of knowledge and the unapologetic power of human curiosity. His life's work, a staggering array of novels, essays, and lectures that spanned astronomy, biochemistry, and robotics, was marked by an insatiable hunger to explain the mysteries of the universe in plain language. Asimov's story is one you need to hear, because in his unrelenting passion for learning and his boundless imagination, we find a reflection of our own greatest aspirations. Asimov's childhood was a crucible for his curiosity, growing up in Brooklyn as the son of Jewish immigrants from Russia. His father, Judah, owned a candy store, where young Isaac would often help out, but it was his mother, Anna, who nurtured his love for reading and learning. She encouraged him to devour books from the public library, fostering an appetite for knowledge that would stay with him throughout his life. Asimov's early fascination with science fiction began with pulp magazines like Amazing Stories and Astounding Science Fiction, which he'd read voraciously, imagining worlds beyond his own. Asimov's educational journey took him to the City College of New York, where he studied chemistry, but it was during his time at Columbia University, working towards his PhD in biochemistry, that he began writing seriously. His mentor, Professor Charles Reginald Stock, encouraged Asimov's writing, recognizing the young man's talent for storytelling and his unique ability to explain complex scientific concepts in simple terms. This fusion of science and narrative would become a hallmark of Asimov's work, as seen in novels like Pebble in the Sky and The Caves of Steel, which explored the intersection of humanity and technology. Asimov's writing career was marked by an astonishing productivity, with over 500 books and countless essays to his name. His most famous works, such as the Foundation series and I, Robot, not only captivated readers with their imaginative storytelling but also tackled significant themes like artificial intelligence, free will, and the responsibility that comes with scientific discovery. These works were influenced by the historical context of their time, reflecting the anxieties and hopes of a world grappling with the consequences of technological advancement. Asimov's writing was not just about spinning tales, it was about exploring the human condition through the lens of science and technology. Asimov's relationships with his contemporaries, like Robert Heinlein and Arthur C. Clarke, were marked by a deep respect for their craft and a shared passion for exploring the possibilities of science fiction. He was part of a literary tradition that sought to push the boundaries of human knowledge and imagination, often challenging conventional wisdom and societal norms. However, Asimov's approach was not without its criticisms. Some saw his writing as too focused on plot and science at the expense of character development, while others argued that his optimistic view of technology and human progress was naive. Despite these criticisms, Asimov remained committed to his vision, believing that science fiction could inspire humanity to strive for a better future. Asimov's time at Columbia University was a defining period, where he not only honed his craft but also found his voice as a writer. His mentor, Professor Charles Reginald Stock, played a significant role in encouraging Asimov to pursue his passion for storytelling. It was during this time that Asimov began to develop his unique blend of science and fiction, which would become the hallmark of his work. He drew inspiration from the likes of H.G. Wells and Jules Verne, but also from the scientists and thinkers of his time, like Einstein and Freud. Asimov's early writing was marked by a sense of wonder and curiosity, as seen in his first published story, Marooned Off Phasalis. This tale of a group of astronauts stranded on a distant planet showcased Asimov's ability to weave complex scientific concepts into compelling narratives. As Asimov's career took off, he found himself at the forefront of the science fiction movement, alongside writers like Robert Heinlein and Arthur C. Clarke. These men were not just colleagues but also friends, bound together by their shared passion for exploring the possibilities of science fiction. They would often meet to discuss their work, sharing ideas and critiques that helped shape the genre. Asimov's relationships with these contemporaries were marked by a deep respect for their craft, as well as a healthy dose of competition that drove them to push the boundaries of what was possible. One of the key themes that emerged in Asimov's work during this period was the concept of artificial intelligence. His robot stories, collected in I, Robot, explored the possibilities and consequences of creating intelligent machines. These tales were not just speculative fantasies, but also thoughtful examinations of the human condition, raising questions about responsibility, free will, and the ethics of scientific discovery. Asimov's robots, like R. Daniil Oliva, became iconic characters in science fiction, symbolizing both the promise and the peril of technological advancement. Asimov's work was also shaped by the historical context of his time. The post-war era was marked by a sense of optimism and anxiety as humanity grappled with the consequences of technological progress. Asimov's writing reflected this mood, balancing a sense of wonder at the possibilities of science with a deep concern for the responsibilities that came with it. His stories often explored the tensions between individual freedom and collective security, as well as the challenges of navigating a rapidly changing world. Asimov's time at Columbia University was a defining period, but it's his years as a young professor at Boston University that showcase his growth into a masterful storyteller. He began teaching biochemistry in 1955, and this stability allowed him to focus on his writing. It was during this time that he wrote some of his most iconic works, including The End of Eternity and The Naked Sun. These novels not only solidified Asimov's reputation as a science fiction writer, but also demonstrated his ability to craft compelling stories that explored complex scientific concepts. One of the significant themes that emerged in Asimov's work during this period was the concept of time and its relationship to human existence. His novel, The End of Eternity, is a prime example, exploring the idea of a group of people who exist outside of time, manipulating events to shape the course of human history. This tale is not just a thought-provoking exploration of time travel, but also a commentary on the human condition, raising questions about free will, destiny, and the consequences of playing with the fabric of time. Asimov's relationships with his contemporaries continued to play a significant role in shaping his work. His friendship with Robert Heinlein, for example, was marked by a deep respect for each other's craft, as well as a healthy dose of competition that drove them to push the boundaries of what was possible in science fiction. Asimov often sought Heinlein's feedback on his work, and their discussions about science, technology, and society influenced the development of Asimov's ideas. Asimov's writing was also shaped by the historical context of the 1950s and 1960s. The Cold War era was marked by a sense of paranoia and unease as humanity grappled with the consequences of nuclear war and the rise of communist ideologies. His novel, The Naked Sun, for example, is set in a future where humans have colonized other planets, but the threat of nuclear war still looms large. Asimov's approach to writing was not without its criticisms, however. Some saw his emphasis on plot and science as coming at the expense of character development, while others argued that his optimistic view of technology and human progress was naive. Asimov's response to these criticisms was characteristically straightforward. He believed that science fiction should inspire humanity to strive for a better future, rather than simply reflecting the pessimism and cynicism of the present. Asimov's years at Boston University were a time of great productivity, but it was his personal life that underwent significant changes during this period. In 1955, he met Gertrude Blugerman, a social worker who would become his second wife. Their marriage was marked by a deep affection and mutual respect, with Gertrude providing a sense of stability and support that allowed Asimov to focus on his writing. Asimov's relationships with his contemporaries continued to shape his work, particularly his friendship with Robert Heinlein. The two men would often engage in lively debates about science, technology, and society, which influenced the development of Asimov's ideas. Their discussions about the role of science fiction in exploring complex social issues, such as racism and sexism, also reflected the changing times. Asimov's novel The Naked Sun, for example, explores themes of isolationism and xenophobia, reflecting the anxieties of a post-war world. One of the significant themes that emerged in Asimov's work during this period was the concept of humanity's place in the universe. His novel Foundation's Edge is a prime example, exploring the idea of a galaxy spanning human empire and the consequences of advanced technology on human society. This tale is not just a thought-provoking exploration of science fiction tropes, but also a commentary on the human condition, raising questions about the responsibility that comes with power and the dangers of unchecked technological advancement. Asimov's approach to writing was characterized by his emphasis on reason and logic, which sometimes led to criticisms that his characters were underdeveloped or lacked emotional depth. However, Asimov believed that science fiction should prioritize ideas over character development, arguing that the genre's true power lay in its ability to explore complex concepts and challenge readers' assumptions. This approach is evident in novels like The End of Eternity, where the plot drives the exploration of time travel and its consequences, rather than character arcs or emotional journeys. Asimov's commitment to science education and critical thinking also led him to write extensively on scientific topics for a general audience. His books on astronomy, such as The Universe from Flat Earth to Black Holes, showcased his ability to explain complex concepts in simple terms, making science accessible to a broad readership. This work not only reflected Asimov's passion for science, but also his belief in the importance of scientific literacy in an increasingly technological world. Isaac Asimov's legacy stands as a testament to the transformative power of human curiosity and the boundless potential of science fiction to inspire and challenge us. Through his vast array of works, he showed us that the pursuit of knowledge is a fundamental aspect of our humanity, and that by exploring the complexities of the universe, we can gain a deeper understanding of ourselves. Asimov's writing continues to resonate with us today because it embodies a sense of wonder, a commitment to reason, and a profound respect for the human condition. In the end, his work reminds us that the true delight is in the finding out rather than in the knowing, and it is this spirit of discovery that will forever be his most lasting gift to us. Like this episode if it hit true. Share it if you respect honest talk about authors. Subscribe because we'll do this again. This is Ernest, signing off.